Shalom, everyone. My name is Shlomo Ben Zaken from Remax Momentum. I am so happy, excited to have with us Galit Kelman from Remax for All in Ashkelon. I guarantee you this is a podcast that you don't want to miss. So stick around. Let's go.
Hello, welcome to our podcast and to our studio of Remax Momentum in Jerusalem. I'm Leslie Kaplan, and I have a wonderful guest and a special guest with us today, Galit Kelman, a great realtor from the city of Ashkelon, from Remax for All. Hello, Galit. Welcome to Jerusalem.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us, coming all the way from Ashkelon. And the truth is, all the way is not that far anymore.
It's not.
So it's about an hour and a half, right?
No, less. With traffic, maybe. But it's less. It's an hour.
Right.
Without traffic.
Okay. And we'll talk about some excitement that happened along the way. So stay tuned. We've got lots of excitement what happened with Galit on the way. So Galit, firstly, just for our viewers and for anyone else that's watching afterwards, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how long you've been in Israel. You're half Israeli, half American. How long you've been in Israel? How long you've been in real estate?
I've been in Israel a total of 6 years since I made Aliyah from Los Angeles. But I also grew up here. So grew up here for 12 years and moved back to LA. Got married, had 4 kids, and moved 6 years ago with my family. I'm 37 years old, married with 4 kids. And I've been in real estate for 6 years in Ashkelon.
Right, okay, sounds amazing. Truth is, hard to believe that you've only been in it for 6 years because you're such, Baruch Hashem, such a well-known name in Remax and in real estate and in Ashkelon. And I remember when I met you a couple of years back and you were starting off, but I guess 6 years flies when you're having fun, right?
When you love what you do, you don't even feel like you're really working. But to be honest, I was in a different field that's very similar to our style of working. I was a financial representative for a financial company called World Financial Group in Los Angeles, which set the tone of how I would be as a realtor. I just didn't know it yet.
You didn't know it yet.
No.
Okay. So what actually brought you into the field of real estate, and what similarities do you actually find between your two worlds?
Well, the similarities are that we still have to book appointments. We still work off of commission. I had to sell a certain product. In real estate, we sell properties, but we had to sell some insurance products that we had to have a lot of knowledge about, just like in real estate. And since different products have their specific, information that we should know about, just like Azor Itmachut, what we call, the neighborhood where we specify in. And that's basically the it felt just, I was doing the same thing, just selling real estate and not
in a different way.
In a different way and not the insurance products.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. So Ashkelon, as we know, attracts a lot of foreigners, a lot of, I think, Anglos, as well as maybe French, different population. Tell us a bit about the type of work you do, who your main clients are, what kind of value you bring to them. I know when we spoke earlier that you sell a lot of apartments to foreigners who have never actually seen the apartment, and they're very lucky to have you here on the other side.
Right. So I work with a lot of foreigners. Most of them are English speakers that are in the retired age, that are looking to make Aliyah since they, retired or looking to retire in a few more years and want to secure a property in Ashkelon and want in the meantime have it as an investment. So what we do is we set up online meeting, Zoom, and we discuss their needs, what they're looking for. Whether it's more of an investment or would it be a place that they want to live in the future, and that information changes because then when you buy an investment, you're more, you're not going to be so strict on certain things. When it's a place that you want to live, then you have a lot more requirements. So we go over all these lists in advance, and then once we decide what that person needs, we build a work plan in the process, how they're going to fund it, whether they need a mortgage or not, then I direct them, I put them in touch with an English-speaking mortgage broker here in Ashkelon, or in Israel, depending. I have a few that I work with. And then once we get all that covered in the meeting, then I'll go and, find the apartment, take videos, send them, and that's how we start the process of the purchase.
The whole process. Okay. So from what I understand from you and also from just knowing the market, there are definite advantages of working with someone like you, because you're really like a one-stop shop for all your clients there, that you have the connections with the lawyers, with the mortgage consultants.
That's right. The whole idea is to make it as easy as possible on the buyer, so they don't have to worry about to find all these solutions. So I bring it directly to them, and they get to pick and choose. I don't insist on them working with one specific lawyer, one specific agent. Mortgage broker. I'll suggest 2 or 3 that I know. They can choose. They can interview them. It has to be that they have to be comfortable in the process. The purchase process is a little longer because they're learning as we're going about how we do real estate in Israel in general, and you need a lot of patience for that. But it definitely helps that you provide everything, because if you don't, most likely you'll lose your clients along the way.
Right. Okay. And obviously a sign of your success, and I've also heard the way that you speak to your clients and hop between English and Hebrew and back and forth, as well as with your lawyers and your consultants. And really, if I was your client and I wanted to buy in Ashkelon, I really felt like a real sense of calm just hearing you speak to your clients, and the confidence that you instill in them, and the trust that you instill in them as well, which is crucial, as we know.
Well, staying calm is very, very important, and control. You need to have knowledge and control in the information, because in the end of the day, you're the professional. You give the service. If you don't have all of the information in order, and you know how to give the process, and you know how to guide your client through it hand in hand, if they don't feel at any point that they don't trust you, and they know that they're not, they're insecure about the process, then there's a loose link over there with your service to them, because they're coming to you with no experience, no knowledge. Even if they had experience with purchasing properties in Israel, they're not realtors in the end.
Right.
Things change, the market changes, things improve, the laws change, and you need to be on top of it. Just like a doctor or a lawyer or anyone else.
Right. And just talking, when you say things change and there's surprises. So as I mentioned earlier, we had some surprises coming here. Your car broke down on the freeway or the highway, whatever you want to call it. And you remained calm, and you just dealt with all the relevant steps that you needed to do. And in business too, and in real estate, then we have surprises, not pleasant surprises too. Tell us a little bit about that and how you manage all the changes that happen at the last minute.
Well, I was very fortunate to be around very smart people around my previous career, and one of the people that I worked with, very smart lady, said, "Life happens. Life is always going to happen. It's not going to wait for you. It's not going to prevent from things happening just because we know we have a podcast today or because you have an appointment somewhere else. Things are going to continue happening. The only thing we can control is how we react to it. And the best way to react to things is in a calm way, because that's the only way you can actually think clearly about what the solutions can be, what kind of solutions you can, think of in order to solve your problem. Because otherwise, if you're panicking, you can't think clearly. Right. So I learned to stay calm. We called the tow truck, and you were flexible enough to come and pick me up and help me out, so I can be here.
And you were kind enough to get stuck close to Jerusalem and not 1 hour away, so that helps as well.
Yeah, so we made it work. We just go with the flow, and and things end up working out. But we have to try to take a step back sometimes and just take a minute
and
to
think
breathe.
About it,
and to breathe. Like, okay, what can I do now? Who should I call? and then things fall into place.
Right. And we see that in real estate all the time. You know, a client gives an offer, the seller accepts the offer, then something happens along the way. And this is what real estate and being in business is all about, is being able to adapt to whatever happens.
Exactly. And that's one of the most important lessons I learned in this business is you need to adapt because it's dynamic, it changes, it's fun because it's never the same. You get to meet different people, but if you don't adapt to the changes, you're always going to be a few steps behind. And you're never really going to, take a move forward to the next level because in the end of the day, it translates into income.
Right, absolutely. So talking about adaptation, we spoke about this earlier as well. Today there are many, many women in real estate, but when you first entered the real estate market, and even now you're in an office where there are mostly men around, and I believe you said in Ashkelon too that a lot of the realtors are men. How do you adapt as a woman in a man's world, also as a mother with youngish children?
With a smile, in humor, lots of humor. Take things lightly, easily. Business it's a very serious environment, but on the other hand, if you don't have fun as you go along with it, it can be stressful because it's not an easy business. In the end of the day, we have to produce. We have to produce business. We have to stay in touch with clients, and sometimes things, as we said before, don't always go our way. So if we don't have fun in the process and joke around and have humor, we're not going to enjoy the journey. And working with younger people and mostly men, they like to fool around and joke around all the time. So it is a fun environment. Right. But if I'm this uptight married woman with 4 kids and, I'm not going to be able to work with them and be, in an environment where sometimes they'll have the buyer and I'll have the seller or vice versa. And if it's overly stressful and serious, then it's not going to be fun to work.
Right. So talking of fun, let's talk about what you love about the business and also some of the challenges in the business.
I love people. I love speaking to people from different backgrounds, hearing different stories. I learn a lot from the people I meet, and I take with me every time when I speak with someone, I take with me another learning experience on how to do things better with the next client, and also on a personal level. And I find that this business is a shlichut. You're a messenger. You're there to provide a lot of help, but also you sometimes get involved into people's personal life, personal issues, and you get to advise people to do the right thing that's right for them. Not because you're looking to do the sale, but because it's really right for that client. We actually have a mutual deal. That's exactly what we're dealing with now.
Right, exactly.
So, so you have the ability as the middleman to, help your client find what they need and have access to the right people in order for them to, first of all, get to the property that they're looking for to get. And you're able to also minimize the damage. You're able to do damage control, which that's what I've been doing for the past week for this client. Right. Damage control, and sometimes we don't even, the client doesn't even know what we have to do behind the scenes in order to get a deal, to close. Whether it's paperwork, a lawyer that's making things difficult, an agent that might not be necessarily cooperative. So
right, and it's a responsibility. It's a huge responsibility that's on your shoulders.
Talking about people's, large amounts of money, people's, financial situation, and you need to know how to get from point A to point B with all the challenges and always solve it.
Right, right. And whether it's on the buyer's or the seller's side, the responsibility and the fact that they are entrusting you with one of the most expensive things in their life, it's a big responsibility. And it's, it's not just a 9-to-5 job, as you know. Tell us a little bit about that in terms of the work-life balance and having younger children, even though you don't have babies in the house.
No,
How do you manage that, and how did the Galit from 6-7 years ago manage that as well?
when they were much younger? Well,
Yeah.
being creative. You have to be creative. It's never an even balance. Sometimes there's a few deals you're working on, and it's in a advanced stage. So right now your house is not gonna be clean for a little while. Laundry is gonna add up, and you might be eating takeout for a few days, and that's okay because it's not all the time. It's not every day. It's the small sacrifices that we do in order to bring parnasa, bring money home, and also have our clients get to they need to get, and that's fine. It's just you just need to make sure that the family is prepared and have a conversation at home. Make sure that your spouse is on board and that you're a team, and that they know that this week is temporary, because some weeks are a little more work, some weeks are more organized. It's just being able to move along with the changes throughout the business.
Throughout the business, absolutely. So what have you learned along the way that the Galit of today knows that you would have told the younger Galit from when she started off in real estate?
To stay positive. I wasn't so positive in the beginning. I took things very, very hard. I used to take things to heart. When things didn't work out. So if a deal didn't go through, it would be very hard for me to function and move on to the next one. I would dwell on it a little bit more because I really put a lot of work into these deals, and then one small little thing that was even insignificant, it was just enough to have everything come down. And really in this business, we know that not everything is going to go smoothly. And if it doesn't work out, then you have to kind of shake it off and move on to the next.
And move on. And I think that's so important. We've discussed it, and we all know it in this business. Being able to move on, being able to say next, as well as being accountable, is critical to be able to be successful. Okay, one final question, Galit.
Sure.
How do clients, you're all over social media, online, offline, thank God you've got a great branding presence. How do most of your clients reach you? And if clients do want to reach you, do they find you on Facebook, LinkedIn, through flyers? What's the best way to reach you, and how are they reaching you right now?
A lot through Facebook. Today, a lot of people have it, but there are some that don't. And the ones that don't, usually contact the Aliyah organizations like Nefesh B'Nefesh and Olim Advisors, and they get recommendations of people. And I made sure that these organizations know that I work in Ashkelon, and they can contact me, and they can give my information on my email. So I get sometimes emails, the iList. So whoever knows, English speakers who have, who just Google the biggest real estate company in the country, because they don't know Tivuch Shlomo or Tivuch, Shimon. So they'll send us an email through, one of our properties that they saw online. But generally, word of mouth and Facebook.
And Facebook, okay. And of course, as we said about the branding, you create your own great branding, as well as the branding that Remax is creating for you as well, and the knowledge. And from what I understand, buyers can reach you, buyers and sellers, first new apartments, construction, secondhand, you deal with it all.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I do.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. It was my pleasure to be able to speak to Galit, find out a little bit about Galit behind the scenes, and I'm sure you learned a lot more about her as well. And see you at our next podcast from Remax Momentum in Jerusalem. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.